Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Rakakwada. Shalom to the 144,000 and rest of you elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to title this video, Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Also, Revelation chapter 18. And I will probably try to go into, I'll see if I can go through. Revelation 18 is a fast read, easy to break down. So we may go into that, may go into the whole chapter. I also want to go into touch on Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 51. Revelation 18 is one of my favorite prophetic scriptures, along with Jeremiah 50, 49, 50, 51, also Isaiah 14, Isaiah 13, Isaiah 34, Joel, and the list goes on and on. I love those prophetic those prophecies that the prophet saw and wrote down. Didn't understand. We understand it fully. And Donald Trump is in the right place. He's where he's supposed to be. So anyway, this is Psalm 60 verse 8 and Psalms 108 verse 9, which says the same exact thing. Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom will I cast my shoe. To the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. Your shoes, you have a foot stand where you throw your shoes off and you lay your feet up. The Most High is going to cause this world to be under the feet of Yahweh Shai, his beloved son. So, over Edom will I cast my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me. In other words, the Most High sets up the power. See, the U.S., America, Babylon the Great, has been in power so long that they don't think they can ever go down. And that's Psalms 49 and 11. The inward thought is that the house shall continue forever. So that pride, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the cleft of the rock. And this guy, Trump, is a proud dude. And he's really looking bad. You got Republicans that are kind of like, this guy, I don't know. I don't know about this guy. So it says, Moab is my wash pot. Wash pot is also a cooking pot. You can make tea with a teapot. You can cook with a pan. You can cook a big thing. You use a pot when you make rice, and you also use a pot. In the ancient world, they would use a pot or a cauldron. They would heat up the water. They would put soap. The scriptures tell you about they was using soap back then. And that's how they would wash clothes. So you cleaning something out. Moab is my wash pot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. In other words, the Most High gonna bring Esau down, but he's using other nations to bring Esau down. And one of the nations that he's using is Moab. Moab, the Moabites, are world power now. And Trump, he's backtracking because he figured that everybody's gonna get in line. He did the bully thing. And he figured everybody's going to bow down to him, but China didn't. And this guy's looking like a madman. He keeps putting up tariffs. And let me do this. I'm all over the place. I didn't really set up nothing. He's saying, his idea is if China doesn't send us anything, we don't receive any product from China in the form of imports from China, we can build our own factories. And first of all, it takes years to build. You have to build up these factories to make these different, the car factories that make cars and different things. It takes years. Now you're gonna have to get, and you're gonna have to fit the bill. The U.S. government has to fit the bill. You would have to get about 10 million construction guys, crews, get them all together, and they got to build factories all over America. And let's say they do it around the clock. They have 3 shifts, and they do it around the clock. We're talking about, in a perfect world, let's say that takes a year. For a year, your country could just go down. If China decides to issue a call for a embargo, meaning not send you anything, the U.S. is fucking done. Everything's gonna be empty. Everything's gonna be empty. So now let me go over here. Okay, let me go over here. As a matter of fact, let me start over here. So I was listening to some of this Prophecy Watch quick update put up by Remnant Say 144, so you can watch the video. So I was noticing the thumbnails, because this goes with this is when you put up use certain terms, you have what's called an algorithm. If I put in what is it, the F-350 pickup, then the algorithm be pickup trucks and so forth. But anyway, here we go. So we're looking at this. Okay, this is Chris Hedges YouTube, which is a good channel. I gotta subscribe to him. It says this was put up 14 hours ago. And then this is Richard Wolff, an economist. He said he pretty much said America's done, no matter what they do. It said the economics of a dying empire. And he refers to America as a dying empire. The Chris Hedges report. So I gotta watch this. U.S. tariffs. China reaches. This is 43 minutes ago, not even an hour ago. U.S. tariffs. China reaches out to other countries. That's a bad thing. If they're successful with other countries, because they make a lot of money from America, because the biggest consumer-based country is the biggest consumer nation in the world. Number 1, United States. Then you got Europe, European Union, China, Japan. So China's thinking about, well, we're going to forget about U.S. and we're going to deal with these other countries. But they really don't want to, because you make your most billionaires were made in China, and that's in Revelation 8. That's why we got to go there. Billionaires are made in China from the consumers here in America, because they buy shit. They buy shit just to be buying shit, So let's come back over here. All right, let's come over here. So I put in pretty much the same thing. What did I put in? China. I think I put in the biggest consumer. What's the biggest consumer nation on the planet? So this popped up. The United States and China exchange about $737 billion in 2018 in goods and services. Goods are products. Services normally come. If you got a good job, normally it's a service-based job, because we don't make that. America makes things, but not like China. When Nixon took the U.S. off of the gold standard and ultimately the silver standard, This was in 71, I believe it was 72, where he made the trip to China, and he met the chairman Mao, and he went over there. That's the whole what do you call it? What's the term? They killed, I think it was 70 million Chinese because they were mostly farmers, and they said, no, you got to work in industry. They said, no, we ain't doing that. They said, okay, we're going to kill you. That was called the Great Leap Forward, because Nixon had a meeting about sending manufacturers from the U.S. to China for cheap labor, because you had the unions over here. This is why all these companies left, because you had cheap labor. This guy Trump talking about what's going to happen is all the companies going to come back to America. But guess what? When those countries come back to America, and you hire me to be a manufacturer, a skilled manufacturer, you're going to have to pay me about $100 an hour, or at least 50. They don't got to do that in other countries. That's why they relocated to other countries for the lesser overhead. So Trump doesn't understand economics. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't listen to his people. But this is all he's doing. The Most High is dealing with him anyway. He's making him do what he does so others could do. And now what's the most hated country? I should ask that question. What's the most hated country on the planet? So it goes on to say the United States. Read again. The United States and China exchanged about $737 billion in 2018 in goods and services. The imports which we receive totaled about $557.9 billion, and the exports to China were about 179. So they export more than we export to them, or that the imports, something that we receive of goods alone, totaled 539.5 billion. So if China calls for an embargo, somebody look that up. I'm not going to look it up for you. That means when you go to BJ's and Walmart and Targets, you want to buy. If we still have those products with this tariff, let's say a 75-inch, you want to get a 75-inch, you tired of the 47, 55-inch, you want a 75-inch. And you can get that for under $500. You can get that, depending on where you go, what brand you get. What is the best brand? I believe, what's that brand? LG. It's a Korean brand. Sony used to be number one. LG is the best you can get as far as smart TVs and so forth. The 75-inch might cost you $400, maybe $350, $400. So with the tariff, that's an over 100% tariff that Trump put on Chinese products coming in. That's going to more than double. So guess what? We're not living we're not experiencing a boom market. I'm not an expert on, like you have a booms and busts, bear markets and bull markets. You got times where in America, like the Roaring '20s, that's when there was a boom, and then followed by a depression. So we're not in a boom. We're not experiencing a boom where we just got money growing out our asses. So people are having a hard time buying a TV for, I don't know, $400, $350. I don't know. I don't think we can cut it. Or, but they got credit cards. So another thing, you don't have the money, put it on credit, which fucks up a lot of people. These students are fucked up over these. There's the report of kids are not registering at Columbia because they can't afford it. So people are not buying, but if the product was there for $400, now it's $800. People ain't damn sure gonna buy a F-350 Ford pickup. Let's say most of the parts are made. Most of the parts are made in China. When you go to the dealership, get a U.S. You want the dealer product. Original product is made in goddamn China. China makes the cheap shit, and they also make the good shit, so to speak. So anyway, if China calls for an embargo, if you got the money, there's nothing to buy. So this guy really fucked up. He really fucked up. Why do you think after he said he called April 9th Liberation Day, a couple hours later he said I'm going to put a 90-day freeze on that because he's saying, oh no, they're telling him you fucking up, and especially China's not backing down. He figured China was going to bow down. China said, no, we're a power now. We got military too. We can put a 10 million man army against your ass and sacrifice them. We got 1 billion people. It says U.S. goods imports from China, what comes into China, 539.5 billion in 2018, up 6.7%. From 27. So each year you buying more stuff, and up 59%, 60% of from 2008. So each year you buying more. U.S. imports from are up 427% from 2001, pre-World Trade Organization accession. U.S. import from China account for 21.2%. U.S. imports from China account for 21.2% of overall U.S. imports in 2018. So they export a lot more than we export to them in the world. China can say, oh, we can deal with Europe and all these other nations and still get paid, but you're really gonna make when you deal with America, that's when the big bucks start rolling in, because American people, the American spirit is to buy. I catch myself sometimes buying shit that I don't really need. I was at a Burlington coat factory and I saw a pair of Pumas, and they were and I looked it up. Those kicks are like $170 to $100, and they were brand new, but they were $30. I said, shit, I'm buying these bad boys. I really don't need them, but they're extra pair of shoes, so that demon jump on me sometimes. But anyway, interestingly, about 56 or almost 60% of the money of what you pay for a product that is made in China stays in the U.S. This is due to the market, distribution, parts, and design raising the price of the product, much of which doesn't come from China. Yeah, because there's going to be a tax on everything that comes in, and he just continually raise the tax, because a tariff is nothing but a tax. When you say we're going to bring a tariff against China, it's going to affect you, because China's not going to lower their prices. So we would have got shit even cheaper from China had they had those extra fees. In Europe, there's a thing called a VAT tax. Look that up. A VAT tax, a value added tax. See, things cost a certain amount of money because of the taxes and the hidden fees within that product. So that's why he called for a 90-day freeze, because he said we're gonna be fucked if these countries still export these things. They're gonna cost double, but they can say nope, we're not gonna send anything. We made deals with Europe and other countries, and we're not dealing with America. So when you got money and you go to stores to buy something, everything gonna be empty. So let's come back over here. The economics of a dying empire, that's U.S. U.S. tariffs, China, this is 43 minutes ago. U.S. Tariffs, China reaches out to other countries as President Trump increases tariffs. I think it's, okay, this guy, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, man. It says here, this is live, Trump's 150% tariff gambit fails. BRICS stuns U.S. with new payment system. And that new payment system is the CBDC, digital currency. This guy's really, he's causing the whole world to hate the U.S. Let me see what this says. U.S. puts counter tariffs. EU puts counter tariffs on hold for 90 days after U.S. pauses its higher tariff. So Trump is backtracking. Let's see what else we got. This is an hour ago. Panicked Trump reeks of fear as as markets get twisted. There's an old saying, fools rush in, and he's a fool. And he doesn't listen to the people around him. Trump's panic tariff pause. Why it might be too late. Come on down. Let's see what this says. European Union matches Trump with another 90-day tariff. This is 20 minutes ago. Trump pauses tariff on most countries except China. And China is your biggest exporter to the U.S. So now let me go over here to so the Most High is using Moab and Edom. Moab is the Most High's washpot. So let's go to Revelation 18, because we did say we're going to go back into breaking down these precepts. We kind of breeze through this, or go through it. Babylon is falling. And after these, I'm in the King James. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage for every unclean and hateful bird. That's talking about desert creatures. That's all that's talking about. This, John saw the aftermath after the missiles hit. He saw the missiles. He saw the mushroom cloud. He saw the missiles pelting the U.S., Babylon. And he saw when the smoke cleared and the fire stopped. And what he saw was a desert, a vast desert with desert-like creatures on it. He didn't see any man, because it cannot be. That's the forbidden zone in the first Planet of the Apes. Right, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of fornication, went to bed with her through democracy. Anytime you have a democratic process for the next president, prime minister, that came from America. It didn't come from Europe, it came from America. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, made deals, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. The seven used to say, oh, we got to get passports and get out of here. Or you got to get out of the system. No, this is talking about an angel saying, come up hither. The elect is going to come up. Then the missile is going to drop. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquity. Reward her, even if she rewarded thee, and double unto her, double according to thy works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. Remember, the Most High gave us that cup in Jeremiah 49. That cup is the curses. So the Most High is going to put those curses that he put on us, he's going to put it on Esau, but he's going to double it. Spanish is doble. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. That's talking about the super rich. So much torment and sorrow give her. That so much torment and sorrow give her are the fire. They're not going to burn in hell. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. That what precept come to mind? Isaiah chapter 47. This is the 7th verse. Isaiah 47. And their power is from the left-hand side. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the river. Hey, these Edomite women are open now. They fantasize about Jake. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Yahushua coming back as an angelic force. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Yasha'Allah. Sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Get thee in the darkness. They're talking about there's going to be a big major blackout coming. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. So Trump said, oh, we're going to bring tariffs against everything. And now he's pulling it back, and he's panicking now. He figured China was going to capitulate and come down at the bargaining table, because he said he'd come down and have a sit down with me. China said, we're not coming. So, okay, I'll raise it even more. Well, guess what? China can call for an embargo, and you don't get shit. But they're not going to do that, because that's how they become richer. Because you people, America's the biggest consuming nation on the planet Earth. I just showed you the numbers. I was raw from my people. I have polluted my heritage and given them into the hand. Thou didst give them thy hand. Thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient, the old people. That's in Deuteronomy 28. Have thou very heavily laid thy yoke? Because in slavery, you got old as hell. They said, look, you don't retire. Ain't no retirement program down here. You get your ass out in the field and keep working. Showed you in the movie 12 Years a Slave. They were working in the field and one guy just dropped dead while he was working. And now said this, I shall be a lady forever. Right, my kingdom shall go on forever and ever. Barely paraphrasing Psalm 49:11. So that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart. None of these people are thinking about, well, you have Russia that has missiles. You have other countries that have missiles. What if something happens and they're talking, Netanyahu trying to get Trump to go to war with Iran, and it's a known fact that Iran and Russia are allied. Iran works with China and Russia. I should look that up. So we don't need this no more. Russia and Iran, are they allies? Iran and Russia are...
According to Wikipedia, Iran and Russia are strategic allies and form an axis in the Caucasus alongside Armenia. Iran and Russia are also military allies in the conflicts in Syria and Iraq and partners in Afghanistan and post-Soviet Central Asia. The Russian Federation is also the chief supplier of arms and weaponry to Iran.
Ooh. It says here, Iran and Russia are also military allies in the conflicts in Syria and Iraq and partners in Afghanistan and post-Soviet Central Asia. The Russian Federation is also the chief supplier of arms, and weaponry to Iran. So they're giving them missiles. Wow. What does it say in Ezekiel chapter 38? Told you I'm going to be all over the place. Ezekiel 38. Yep. Ezekiel 38. So you got Al-Azhar talking, oh, we could be here for another 1,000 years. And when he said that, we got on him, then he got mad, and then he said, first of all, you guys taught me that. When did we ever say we can be here for another 1,000 years? Okay, I want to go right to the point. I'll go to the 4th verse. And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. Oh, the washpot. When you look up the word washpot, one of the definitions is hooks. It says, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, modern weapons, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. Persia is Iran today. The people of Iran descended from the Persians, the ancient world, Persia. All of them with shields and helmet, Gomar and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarter, and all his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that is assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia is a guard unto Iran. And read that again. Iran and Russia are also military allies in the conflicts in Syria and Iraq, and partners in Afghanistan and post-Soviet Central Asia. The Russian Federation is also the chief supplier of arms and weaponry to Iran. So Trump is trying to make money. He doesn't realize that he's going to be involved in World War III, the War of Armageddon. He's not talking about that because he doesn't understand the scriptures. His cabinet, his advisors, they don't understand about the scriptures. They do know one thing. They know about the Israelites, and they want to do something to us. And that's when you're gonna fuck up. Scripture said, touch not my anointed, neither do my prophets any harm. Cause they're watching us, man. They got, like I said, they got all you guys that got your fucking head stuck up your ass, that you cool with certain brothers in the camp. Some of them brothers could be police, federal agents, spies. Take your fucking head out your ass and just do the work. This is your whole life. If this ain't your whole life, then you're not you're most likely not one of the elect. I do this Hebrew Israelite thing every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's a song, I can't go a day without my sunshine. Well, I can't go a day without this truth. That was somebody give me the name of the singer, Jake. Apostle Gabar helped me out. He talking about a woman. Well, guess what? This the scriptures is all woman. There's knowledge, there's wisdom. Wisdom is a woman. I can't go one day without my scriptures, without my wisdom, without my sunshine. You guys that have turned your back, you taking breaks. Oh, I need a break from this. I got to get my head straight. So now let me come on back to Revelation 18. I want to jump down. Right. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh, the Most High, who judges her. Now I'm gonna look this up in the Bible Hub. We know what that's talking about, right? It says lament for Babylon. When we read, I'm gonna come back to this. The people that's gonna be lamenting are the people that became billionaires from the products that they sent over to America. The number one nation that's going to be lamenting is the Chinese. They got factories and all kind of. I don't know where I saw this. They went to this one place in China where they just make products just for America. They'll make like basketballs, soccer balls, baseball bats, Louisville Sluggers. They'll make the American flags. You see these Edomites with the American flags, the motherfuckers are made in China. Trump used to sell ties, these old cheap ass ties, and he was on David Letterman's show, and he was talking about how great America is. We got to make America strong, and we got to buy American. So he pulls out the tie, and he pulls it out, and it said "Made in China," and it embarrassed Trump, because Trump don't give a damn about the average person, the working class people. He used them to get up in there. He played you guys. He played your MAGA people. I don't see nobody wearing no MAGA hat no more. He played your motherfucking ass. All you Latin tribes that put him in there, he sent your ass back down South America. He's grabbing up people that have legal status to be here. Oh, we just grabbed. Well, too bad. Okay, his legal status was right, but he's gonna stay down there. Esau don't give a fuck about you. Esau don't give a goddamn about Esau. The super rich are concerned about themselves and the other super rich. They don't give a damn about that. They don't care. They don't look at race. The super elite, they don't give a damn about race. Well, he's my fellow white man. No, they don't do that. This is about class with them. So it says, I was going to go someplace else, but it says, lament for Babylon, right? And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication, ultimately part of that fornication, getting in bed with them, is the whole planet is going to accept that chip. So they're working together behind the scenes. The whole planet is going to accept that microchip. They're going to get chipped in the head, and they're going to chip in the right hand and the left hand. And that's when you brothers from these other camps, you're going to realize that you're following the wrong guy. It's going to getting rocks thrown at you, or getting a chip. We're going to see what Bishop Nate and General Yohana is going to say when they make that chip mandatory. We're going to see. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go right to the web just to see. I'm going to go to the different camps just to see what these leaders tell their zombies, because they're all zombies. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously became rich. The puppet leaders should bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Oh, I said I was going to go to the matter of fact, let me do that now. Let me go to 8. I'll go to Revelation 18 and 8 and Revelation 18 and 9. See, once you go into Revelation 18, once somebody breaks it down, you should just, 2 years later, could you break? No, you should be able to get it. Very simple breakdown, but a very important breakdown to me. Okay. Okay, Cambridge ain't got, they don't know what's. She shall be utterly burned with fire, Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So they're right on that. This is talking about the same thing. But they don't know who the whore is. They don't even know who the beast is. While literally true of the city, the doom may refer to the refer to that pronounced by the law on certain cases of foul fornication. And the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profaneth her father and shall be burnt with fire. Yeah, because Babylon the Great is this big whore of the planet Earth that had all the nations sleep in her bed. You know, a country that puts up a leader based upon a democratic election process, they went to bed with Babylon. For strong is the Lord. Let me see what this says. Jeremiah 15:34. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause. It's hard to read these words because they're so light. That he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Disquiet the quietness. The opposite of quietness is disquiet. And what's gonna happen and make them not quiet or disquiet is the missiles, the fire. But that's all you're gonna get. Because they don't know. They're not gonna say it's the U.S. None of these places. Okay, let me just see what it says. Matthew Henry's concise commentary. The downfall and destruction of the mystical Babylon are determined in the councils of the Most High. Another angel from, I'm try to go to the point, had drawn short spiritual idolatry, and by her wealth and her luxury kept them in her interest. Yeah, because the other nations, especially China, prior to 1970, the Chinese they were looked down upon. When Nixon went over there, and I believe it was 1972, matter of fact, let me do something. Why did President Nixon have this meeting with Chairman Mao?
According to Wikipedia, Nixon visited the PRC to gain more leverage over relations with the Soviet Union following the Sino-Soviet split.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? Sino-Soviet. Let me look up Sino-Soviet. Why is it called Sino-Soviet? Sino-Soviet relations, Chinese, blah, 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 Russian, Soviet, China-Soviet Union. Okay, Sino-Soviet split. So there was a split when Chairman Mao came into power. Nixon visited the PRC to, I think that's the People's Republic of China, to gain more leverage over relations with the Soviet Union following the Sino-Soviet split. Sino-Soviet split meaning when China and the Soviet Union were together. They were allies. So there's a split there. So Nixon came in there, and he did it in behalf of these major companies in America to shift to just take down everything, almost everything in America as far as manufacturing is concerned, and bring it over there to China for cheap labor. So he said, we got a lot of people. They didn't have 1 billion at that time, but they had more than the Americans. They had a lot of people that were farmers, so they said, nope, no more farming. No, we're going to farm. Okay, we're going to kill you. The people that were on drugs, they just killed them. They said, what was Nixon's reason for visiting China? Quizlet. Nixon recognized the establishing diplomatic relations with the Chinese communists would benefit the U.S. economically. Ooh, what was that all about? Improved relations would bring significant trade agreements, especially in China and the Pacific coast. That's west. You know, you go to California, the end of California, you got the that body of water. That's the Pacific, and when you go to the other side of the Pacific, that's the Orient, the Far East. So he said, oh, there was a split with Russia and China, even though they're still communists, which they got from Russia. Nixon said, oh, we can go in there and we can, for what reason? For economic reasons. I don't got to read no more. Why did President Nixon believe it was important to pursue war in Cambodia? Why did Nixon establish a relationship with China? And like in 71, that's when he took the how do I phrase it? He took the world off of the gold standard, so they can print money. Back then they were printing money. Now they make money. You know, they'll put zeros on a central computer. It said Nixon visited the People's Republic of China to gain more leverage over relations with the Soviet Union following the Sino-Soviet split. The normalization of ties communicated in 1979 when the U.S. transferred diplomatic recognition from Taipei to Beijing and established the full relationship with the People's Republic of China. Let me do this. U.S. companies that are now based in China. Many U.S. companies have a significant presence in China, either through manufacturing. There it goes. Manufacturing. Why do they do that? Cheaper labor. That's how the Chinese became rich. You got billionaires. You had the working class, then you had the super rich, the billionaires. Because if the U.S. companies never, closed down in America and went to China, that's why they left. That's why they left. Because the unions, the unions said, no, you got to give us more money. You got to give us, medical plan. You got to give us a dental plan. You got to give us a retirement plan. They don't got to do that in China. They'll have a company like a shirt manufacturer that they're in slavery, man. They'll bring them the food. Okay, eat while you're working. And they're getting paid almost nothing because they're in slavery. It says many U.S. companies have a significant presence in China, either through manufacturing, sales, or ownership, with some even having their headquarters or key operations there, though they remain technically U.S. companies. So now Trump is trying to bring the U.S. companies back, but if you bring the U.S. companies back, it's going to take years to do that, and you're going to have to start paying Americans more fucking money. So it's going to backfire. And this is what's going to lead to this thermonuclear war. It's always about, what is it? All wars are bankers' wars. Michael Rivero. Here are some examples of U.S. companies with a notable presence in China. Your Nike shoes, they come from China. General Motors. They build the General Motors parts and even the trucks and the cars, and they ship them over here. That's why in Revelation 18 it speaks about the merchants. KFC, Starbucks, Boeing. So parts are built in China. The individual parts of Boeing. Look at this. 10 iconic American companies owned by Chinese investors. What American companies are not American anymore? Wow. Wow. Iconic American companies that aren't in America anymore. Burger King, meaning they're based in China. The owners are Chinese. They became rich. Firestone, Ben & Jerry's, 7-Eleven, Smithfield Foods, I know that's from China. ICBM and PC businesses. AMC Theaters, it's owned by Chinese. Everything that you get is made in motherfucking China or some other country. That's why when they make certain commercials, and this is made in the USA. 10 iconic American companies owned by Chinese investors. And they make weapons too. Chicago Stock Exchange, AMC Theaters, owned by China, Smithfield Foods, GE, owned by China or Chinese investors, Waldorf Astoria, owned by the Chinese or Chinese Strategic Hotel and Resorts, and Graham Micro. Oh, a lot of your phones are parts are made in China. Your chips is made in Taiwan. Motorola. So everything gonna go up. Everything gonna go up. That's if the Chinese don't decide to call an embargo, which they're not. So now let's come back over here. So this is why they're going to cry, lament for Babylon, right? Stand afar of torment, alas, alas, that great city from Babylon, that mighty city for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth her merchandise anymore. They're not crying because, oh, this is a great place. I just love America. I love Walt Disney and Disney World and, you know, Magic Kingdom and all this nonsense and KFC. No, they're gonna cry because they're not making no more money. They said that's the biggest consumers on the planet. That's the biggest consumers on the planet, man. So that's what they're gonna cry about. Your cinnamon, certain food items come from China. You got that regular store-bought cinnamon. That's come from China, man. You got to get that organic cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon, not the regular. You got in the cupboard. And you got certain fruits and different foods that come from other countries, man. Anyway, that's all I'm going to speak on. With that, I'm going to say shalom on to the next. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me check my notifications. Yeah, Midas touch. They get down on Trump. Market manipulation, red flags surface on Trump decision. Yeah, Trump is backtracking now. And he's not looking like a leader. He said as soon as I become president, prices are going to go down overnight. I'm going to end the war. Russia-Ukraine war, I'm going to end it in 24 hours. Didn't all these promises that he made. Trump says these nations are lining up to kiss. No, they're not. Not China. He's disrespecting Canada. He says Canada is just one of the states of America, and the president of Canada is nothing but a governor. That's a total diss. Okay, this brother, the GMS Virginia Island Straight Gate, according to Nate, you would be of the tribe of Dan, brother. That's the new information from Nate. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of the times. Silver and gold. Mar-a-Lago accords will reshape the global economy. $12,000 gold. Mike Maloney. Oh, this is the number one guy. Gold, silver. Mike Maloney. He goes. He's like the number one guy dealing with the silver and the gold. He does a lot of good videos. Puts out a lot of good videos. The world is coming to an end. The heathen should not expect any mercy. Yeah, we're gonna put it, especially Esau. Oh, he gonna get fucked up. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom on to the next shalom.